Hey, it's time for some more Halls of Torment. I don't do series anymore, but I guess I'm doing one on this. So what are we doing? What was I... Right. I need to look at Path of the Sword, Swift as an Arrow, Unholy Crusade. Reach level 60, reach level 100, 500,000 magic damage in one run. Okay, so we just gotta do a boatload of magic damage as Cleric. That seems doable. Let's see, do we want to do Haunted Caverns? Yeah, let's do Haunted Caverns for the time being. Also, thank you, Blue Doom, for the 15-month resub. I'm gonna have you in the background while I get some writing done. Ooh, what kind of writing are we talking about? Like, oh. Trader 1, 10 items from the Wellkeeper. Sick. Okay, I guess I might as well beeline. Well, speaking of beelining, now let's go for some, pickup radius here. Speaking of beelining, let's just head down for that first ability. I would like to fight a bunch of skeletons to get as much EXP as possible early on to get some upgrades. But, I don't know. I think we want to go for attack speed. Cone size is good. But on this character, I don't know. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Since my damage is effectively split between every enemy I hit. Which is a really interesting concept for a character. Like I was talking about the first time I ever played them. Let's see. I think the Cleric is weirdly unique. I don't know of any characters that normally work based off of a split AoE. And pretty much any other game I usually play. You're working on writing espionage plots for a game I help run. Ooh, that sounds fun. Let's go for the extra range. I've got the tabletop RPG bug hard, but I have yet to actually sit down and really start I haven't started organizing that yet. I've been trying to get everything else out of the way, so like, I spent an hour making invoices today. How lovely is that? It's the most fun thing that I wish I never had to do. But it's a part of my business, so guess I gotta do it. So, I don't know. That's been my day today, which is part of the reason why I wanted to play this. I'm trying to get everything kind of back on track. I don't know, I want to say I've been in this kind of weird, lazy funk for a while. I've been doing this job for almost 10 years, and I haven't really done, like, major vacations, and my minor vacations don't feel like vacations, because I have to, like, prep all of my videos before I go, and then as soon as I get back, I'm like, oh, I left a lot of work for myself to do. I should get back and do that, and so all of my vacations are just, like, weirdly stressful, and also cursed. Like, I found out on this most recent vacation that I'm very allergic to bug bites. Who would have thought? And so, that kind of messed with things. Not too much, but still. Invoicing others is better than being invoiced yourself. It's true. So, interestingly enough, I actually find it harder for me to request an invoice than to pay one. I realize, like, on a functional level, getting paid is way better than paying someone. But it's such a hassle. You have to figure out, like, all of the details. And, like, imposter syndrome hits really hard. When I'm paying for stuff, it's almost kind of this, like, weird validation. Let's see. Oh, that's funny. Proficient stance, close range versus... Why would I ever pick this one? Maybe there's a benefit to it, but I do not want to be short range here. Yeah, let's finish off the... Wow. Let us finish off this boss lickety-split, if I can. There we go. Kugel Blitz. Oh, slow-moving ball of electricity towards a random enemy. The ball emits electric shockwaves at regular intervals, damaging enemies around it. Lightning elemental project. Oh, it's not magic. Transfixion is magic. What? Alright. I was expecting this to be a magic... What? How many employees do you have on your payroll? No one. Me. And I guess Shell, but we have a shared bank account, so I don't know if that counts. Now, I am far from ever having employees, and I probably never will. Like, I hire freelancers every once in a while, which, like I was saying, is kind of validating. Wow, that's a huge range increase. One of my, like, overall goals, I don't think is to ever really have employees. I mean, I would love to be to the point of income where I could actually afford to hire some people to do some stuff that I don't like doing, like invoices. But I don't make enough for that. My channel isn't that successful. I'm like, I realize I'm nearing 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, and a tenth of that on Twitch. Or actually, I think I'm past, yeah, I'm past that on Twitch. I'm actually nearing 60,000 on Twitch, which is pretty good. But, what was I going to say as part of this? I don't know. Mostly just kind of this situation of, like, it may look externally like I'm doing well enough that I could maybe hire somebody, but that would eat into pretty much all of my income. Or I'd have to pay somebody peanuts, and I don't want to do that. So I don't mind hiring like a freelancer to do some artwork for me every once in a while, as kind of like a, hey, I can afford to spend like oodles of money on a good artist. But I'm not going to go out of my way to actually try and hire someone, because I'm pretty sure I couldn't do that long term. I could maybe hire somebody like pseudo part-time, but even then, I don't know, that's getting eh. It'd be great to hire a personal business person assistant and an editor, but employees are expensive. Yeah, and like maybe I could do like an editor, kind of on a contractual basis, not as a full-time thing, but like, hey, here's a bunch of videos, edit them down. But ultimately, like, it takes me about 10 minutes to edit a video, so video editing isn't really that much of an issue. Unless I'm working on my video essays. Those take a lot longer. Wow, I'm just chewing through them. Let's see. Area cone size or crit damage bonus? No, let's keep going for that area cone size. I just want to have big shot. Even if it does mean that my damage gets split hard. But, I don't know, like, it would be very validating to actually have employees at some point. I see a lot of people that I know, who are struggling a little bit. Like, one of my friends works part-time at 2 different libraries. Not because she isn't, like, a perfectly capable librarian on her own, but because there just aren't positions open for her. And so she has no choice but to work part-time at both, which means her benefits suck. And some other things, and it's like, yeah, that's pants. Let's see. What else? I mean, just oodles. I had one friend who might even still be in this situation, who's living with 6 other girls in a rental house in Los Angeles, and has been, like, working on some pretty big shows and still only just got health insurance within, like, a year or 2 ago. Which is just like, I don't think anybody, if you're outside of the US, you might not know about this, but health insurance is stupidly expensive in the US, and a lot of people don't have it because of that. And that feels super wrong to me. And so, I don't know. It sucks when I see friends and people that I look up to, not doing well. Because I'm kind of a bleeding heart kind of person. And it messes with me. Wow, I am just chewing through this guy. Die, sucker, die. Let's see if we can find a good item. Let's see. Ruby Circlet. Sparkling Tips. When you hit a burning enemy with physical attacks, that enemy will spark fire to... But that's absurd. I'm going to snag that, but we're just going to put it in a bag and then toss it up the well, because it's really good. Let's see. Let's keep going for the crit chance. Because I need to do a lot of damage. Understand, sort of. Still live with my parents because houses are expensive. Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so we need something that does magic, which looks to be Arcane Splinters. Alright. I've been meaning to invest into them anyway. Last boss is 1v1. This guy should melt him. We'll see. I find my damage output isn't quite there yet, just because of lack of meta progression, is my assumption. But it does feel like we're getting pretty close to the point where, yeah, we might be able to. Okay, health regen, base health, area, additional projectiles. Let's go for the additional projectiles. I don't necessarily know where I want to invest in on that one, but we'll see. I guess part of it is, I don't think I've ever seen the last boss with this character. Almost every time that I fight the last bosses with characters that hyper-specialize in really good AoEs, and not so much single-target damage. Well, we got False Blessing, so... I wonder if that achievement just wasn't unlocked the last time I played Cleric. That actually would not surprise me. I guess I might as well head up to that well, because I have nothing better to do. I guess we could also go looking for money in boxes and barrels and stuff. Let's see, attack speed, 5 defense. It's not terrible, but nah. So somebody said go to the character traits and abilities, or no, it is actually just here. Oh yeah, that is actually way more useful. 100% chance to block 2 damage or less. 5 damage is 50%, 12 damage is 20%. Okay, so that is actually really useful to know. And we're regenerating about 0.8 HP per second. Cool. We can also see our range and our area size. Okay. Crit damage, crit bonus, piercing. But I don't know if piercing's really that worth it on this build. We'll see. Let's see. Heard someone else say that some achievements are bugged and don't seem to unlock ever. Okay. We'll see. Most of them seem to be unlocking for me, and there was just there was a big patch just like a couple hours ago, so maybe we're lucky at getting what we need. At the very least, I know like 75% of the achievements are achievable in this current version. Okay, do we want to keep doing collateral damage? Or, nah, let's go for strength. We want to rack up raw oomph more than quantity. Because my wave's already pretty huge, and so I might as well just try and hit them for as much as possible. How much does health insurance cost in the US? Between Shell and myself, we're paying about 900? It's 900 to 960 per month. Here, give me a second, I can look this up. And, like, depending on your income, you do actually qualify for tax breaks for this kind of thing. Let's see. Oh, right. They were doing something about a rate change on me, so it might have actually just gone up. Okay, how much do I pay? Nope, 900. 891 specifically. Let's see. Do we want to go for attack speed for... Yeah. Let's actually focus on Arcane Splinter a little bit here. It's not really like my go-to item, but it doesn't seem terrible. Also depends on your job as well. Health insurance for myself is 200 to cover health, vision, and dental with co-pays and max outs, but the company tries to cover most of the cost. Yeah, it really does depend on your company. Unfortunately, as a self-employed person, I don't really get much of a choice or chance on that one. Let's go for dedication for the movement speed. I truly wish that YouTube actually had like a benefits package that like bigger channels could qualify for some level of legal assistance and health insurance. I don't need to be a Google employee necessarily, but I would love to have some benefits considering how much I, pay into this company. Same thing for Twitch. Like, honestly, I think if you're working for a company, even as like a contractor, if it's like your primary source of income, it is kind of ridiculous to me that that you don't get benefits from it. I'm thinking like even, let's say like contracted janitors and cleaning staff, or people that drive Uber or Lyft or stuff like that. Like that would be super nice. Which is why none of these companies want to pay for it and want to classify us all as contract workers so they don't have to. Because, boy, that would save them a lot of money and make the rest of us, super reliant on them. Or not super... I guess it's not super reliant on them, but, if you have to pay health insurance out of pocket, it's really hard to quit your job or demand better pay. Here it's usually contractors make more money to compensate. It depends on what you're doing, I guess is the answer. So if you're doing like contracting work with tech, that's yes. But if you're doing something that is considered menial or unskilled, or just is not a particularly in-demand thing, even if it is in demand, that's when it starts getting a little dodgy. in terms of like whether or not you actually get paid or treated well. So, I mean, easiest example is like Uber and Lyft. At this point, society would have some serious trouble without them, just because taxis are kind of outmoded, and people use Uber and Lyft constantly. But despite that, they're not paid particularly well, and no one really cares about them. Physical, summon, and projectile. Physical, projectile, physical, projectile. I was really hoping I'd get an evolution on one of these. Let's see. Do you have to pay doctors or surgeries if you've got insurances, or is all covered under insurance? It depends on your plan. Let's go for the ring blades. I think they're kind of halfway decent. I think I needed to upgrade these two to get an evolution. Or maybe I just don't have one yet. Let's see, what was I going to say? So in my case, I have a very high... let's see. Do we want this? No, let's go for long fingers. So I've got a very high deductible. So if you don't have to deal with insurance, a deductible is pretty much what you have to pay out of pocket before your insurance steps in. So in my case, it's I think it's $9,000. So say if I break an arm, and the whole thing costs me $20,000 to deal with between you know, paying for the doctors, the cast, all of that treatment, plus maybe I need some physical therapy to get my arm back up to snuff. It's going to cost me $9,000 per year to pay for that, after which my insurance will then pay for it. Now there are a couple of things like preventative care that I don't have to pay for. So going to see a doctor about like a colonoscopy, for example, that's generally free. Or like you know what, let's go for the +5 block strength just because. I'm taking a couple of hits and +5 block strength actually seems kind of helpful. Maybe. We'll see. So you pay monthly for insurance and then pay $9,000 before they pay a single penny. Generally, yeah, it's an absolute racket, but we can't escape it. Because effectively half of the US thinks that socialized healthcare would be the death of America. Which is nonsense, but it's really hard to argue with these people, and there's enough of them that they have enough political clout to prevent us from really changing anything, at least in that regard. And especially after like COVID, the need for socialized healthcare is like super important, but just gonna have to wait until it picks up enough speed, momentum, that nothing can stop it. I very much would love it. The first state that actually like goes fully for socialized healthcare, I will very much consider moving to, which might actually be Minnesota. I'm betting it's going to be Minnesota within the next like couple of years. They'll figure it out. I know Washington and Oregon are trying, but yeah. Unless it's Vermont. I'd love to move to Vermont, but that's like the one place I don't think I could afford to live. That and like Silicon Valley. Just can't do anything about it. So it sounds like you have a lot of work to do with health insurance in the US. If you break an arm in Germany, you go to the doctor, get your arm fixed, and don't have to pay for anything. Yep, I am very jealous of how it works in Germany. And pretty much all of Europe. It would never happen, but I would love it if, kind of entirely unrelated, I would love it if the US had some kind of weird deal where, we could have certain EU benefits. I would love to live in Europe again. But the chances of of that ever happening are kind of unlikely. I know there's like one or two countries, where you can actually just like live in Europe anyway. But even then, it sounds like a pain. And most hospitals in America have charity care policy. No. I mean, yes, but also no. I don't know if you saw the thing going around on social media, but there was a lady down south who was... I don't think she could afford to pay, but she specifically was having a stroke, like then and there, and was like complaining about not being able to breathe. And they kicked her out of the hospital and had the cops drive her off, and she passed away in the back of the police cruiser. So while there is potentially charity care, in reality, more often than not, a hospital will find some way, shape, or form to get rid of somebody that they do not want in the hospital. And it's not the best. For every 10% without moving, you heal 1% of your maximum health. Whoa, that's interesting. Let's grab the pace setter. Put it in the bag. Now, which of these do I want to keep? This feels like a slightly unhinged ally and neighbor. It's kind of a factor of things. Education is a huge issue in the US. Also, politicization of the news, which happened, what? When did the Fairness Doctrine get gotten rid of? I think it was like the 80s or something like that. Let's see. Charity is only about yearly income. If you make under a certain amount, they must give free medical care. They're supposed to. That doesn't mean that they will. Like, it's nice to pretend that hospitals will actually do the right thing, but many hospitals will not. I mean, like, purely from a first-hand experience, I donated blood once, fell on my face, and they sent me to the hospital for, let's see. They sent me to the hospital to make sure that I didn't have, like, a concussion or anything, which, like, okay, that seems fine. Who pays for it? Well, apparently I did, because I had too much money, even though it was not my fault and I was giving blood. And supposedly the Red Cross was supposed to pay for it, but they ghosted me, so that's fun. And the hospital, of course, was not interested in eating the cost either, and it's just kind of like, but I am a poor college student. Why am I supposed to pay for this? So you wonder any games from the PlayStation showcase catch your eye? Ooh, Dragon's Dogma 2? I'd have to look at it. Unfortunately, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to game announcements. I would like to, but there's not a whole lot of reason for me to do so, because more often than not, some of these games just are never going to exist. I'm trying to think of... Oh, I mean, best example is Beyond Good and Evil 2, or whatever the new one's supposed to be. I'm like... I've been waiting for that game for forever. Same thing like how I was waiting for Dead Island for a very, very long time. Turns out Dead Island 2 was a real thing and actually was pretty good. I was quite shocked. I was assuming that game was going to be in permanent development hell until somebody just, like, blitzed it out for whatever reason. It may be Phantom Blade Zero. Phantom Blade Zero is specifically the one that I'm expecting is not going to come out, or if it does come out, it's not going to be nearly as good as that trailer looked. They said they had more or less, like, designed their mechanics around systems that they'd made for mobile games, and that just does not sound good to me. The Dead Island 2 is far better than it should have been for how long it was in development. I'm honestly blown away. I was shocked playing the game. It didn't run too well on my PC, so I want to kind of come back to it in a couple... Well, I guess once I have a new computer. So I can actually sit down and play through the dang thing, because I think it'd be fun. Chance to trigger on-hit effects. I think that's only for Transfixion, so I'm not really sure if that's that good. So let's go for Transfixion 4. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the other games that were specifically announced as part of the PlayStation Showcase, but I didn't actually watch the stream, and I don't know. The games I care about are the ones that are coming out next week. Looking too far ahead is kind of meaningless for me because my bullet journal only extends about 2 weeks, and half the time those release dates are wrong anyway. I think I'm also just kind of immune to hype at this point. It is one of those where it's just hard for me to care. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, that'll be cool. And then I move on. Call me jaded, I play too many video games. I guess I'm also very much... I don't want to, like, say, like, kind of tired of AAA games, but a lot of them tend to feel kind of samey to me. And so it's like the weird indie stuff that really catches my eye. Oh, you know, the one I am looking forward to is the Sand Sea whatever. The new game by Big Giant Squid, or just Giant Squid? The developers of Abzu and Journey and whatnot. That I am super looking forward to because I think it's going to be really fun. And also because one of the problems I have with a lot of AAA games, and I was talking about this yesterday, is the idea that, like, these games have to be incredibly long. Like, I actually did a full playthrough of Dragon's Dogma last year. I didn't record it or stream it or anything. I have the footage, but I was going to do like a review on it. I finished the game, and by the end of it, I just kind of hated it. It just went on too long. And I'm finding that's genuinely true of most AAA games. That by the time I've reached their completion, I wish I hadn't. I wish Dragon's Dogma Online had hit the rest of the world. Or we'd have some kind of co-op. Oh well. Yeah. Dragon's Dogma would have been way more fun if I could play with a friend. I will 100% agree with that one. Reduce the number of splinters, but will burst into smaller ones after being shot. Ooh, that sounds actually really useful. Still think they're kind of weak in comparison, but I'll take whatever. It's kind of a weird run. It's working. Oh, there's our 50,000 skeletons. Let's see, additional areas. Yeah. Because I don't think we need the shatter that much. Maybe we do, I don't know. The problem is it's hard to feel when you're armor breaking an enemy. Oh, is that what that symbol is? Maybe? Maybe not. Let's see. Would you ever make a real-life Wanderbot mask? It's like half complete. I'm waiting on Shell to... let's go for the duration so my splinters can last longer. I'm waiting on Shell to finish it up. It's really rudimentary and not very good. But one of my hopes over the course of the next couple of years is to actually make like a bunch of them and kind of just keep iterating and making them better. Hopefully, once I can buy a house or rent a house again, I'll actually have the space to get a 3D printer, at which point I'm going to use that specifically to... let's see. 5 defense versus... I don't know why it says 5 defense. They're probably just missing the plus. But I'd like to get a 3D printer so I can actually start, like, printing off new helmet designs, because I think that'd be really cool. How is Halls of Torment? It is one of the best bullet heavens I have played all year. And that's saying something considering how many I play. There's a lot of really ho-hum ones, which I think is the main issue. A lot of them just say like, hey, but what if we just made Vampire Survivors again? And I really hate that. It's like the worst idea. Because Vampire Survivors exists and is actually really good. Okay, are we getting close to this well? The other thing I'm noticing is this character is a little bit more powerful if I'm specifically just going in one area and I don't let the enemies surround me. Because if they don't stack up too much... Got something in my eye. That's not fun. If I don't let them stack up too much, they can't do too much to me. Let's go for the duration. I want my splinters to keep doing things. Okay, the well's right over here. The question is, what item do we save? Oh, hey, cool. We get a free magnet while we're here. So... every 10 sec... oh, no, that's not nearly as useful as sparkling tips. Or sparking tips. Because healing 1% of my maximum HP every 10 seconds that I don't move. That's gotta be like... what, 5 HP every 10 seconds? That seems like it's only really good on a pure block defense build and not much else. Okay. What do we want to do? More range? No, more attack speed. Because more range at this point is just going to mean splitting my damage harder. It's not strictly bad, but I don't know how good that is. Whereas attack speed means I can just send out more and more waves of death. Also, wow, we've picked up a lot of magnets. I just don't know how many of I need. I want Halls of Torment, but alas, I'm gonna have to wait till I get paid because sub fees and other things. Understandable. I mean, it's still in early access, and it's not like these games have any really inherent FOMO. The only games that really have that at this point in my life are Destiny 2, and even then, I've kind of stopped that. I was, prior to the previous expansion, most recent expansion coming out, I, like, worked really hard to complete the season pass and, like, every bit of seasonal content, so I wouldn't miss anything. And by the end of it, I was just like, wow, I kind of hate this game now. And shut it off and haven't been back since. I should play again, but it was just, like, actually weirdly rough to deal with. Do we want to do more damage per health point, or do we want to go for the wooden ring? I'm gonna go for the wooden ring. I should probably save that at some point, but unfortunately the well only lets me save one item per run. Because yeah, 10%, an extra 10% crit chance would be pretty good on certain builds. Destiny 2 kind of ruined it with me with the welcome to the new season. You have to regrind basic stuff until you're done again. I don't necessarily mind the like grinding for eye levels and stuff. You know, that's okay. It's not great because it feels kind of like a weird waste of time. But I at least kind of understand it, so it shakes people away from their previous gear sets, at least temporarily. And also, I don't know, I guess it gives that false sense of progression. Even if it's all just a lie. My main thing is just, like, how long it takes to do anything, and, like, how much you are required to play this stuff. Like, easily at least 20 hours per season. If not a lot more than that, just to be able to, like, max it out. After that point, it's usually just kind of like, yeah, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't feel like I don't like the feeling that I have to be compelled to play a game. Or I don't like being compelled, feeling compelled to play a game just so I don't miss out on some shiny or a reward or a thing that I already paid for. Like, if you're gonna have a season pass system, I don't mind it if that season pass never expires. Like, the first MMO that has non-expiring season passes is going to be the MMO that, like, gets my time again. Yeah, it's the modern thing games do where they act like teachers handing out homework, and I hate it. I hate it so much. I already have enough of that in life, just with work. I don't really want video games to feel like a job any more than they do. And, like, maybe this is extra acute for me, and probably isn't a problem for anybody that is specifically mainlining Destiny 2 or Warframe or any of these games as their, like, primary game. Ow. Ooh. Do not get surrounded by skeletons. That is death. I'm just gonna go for some of the thinner areas. And I'll just put some holes into the horde following me whenever I get the chance. Because yeah, if it gets too dense, then my damage drops to nil. And I can't finish them off. Which is an interesting and kind of amusing place to be. Let's keep going for that health regen. Like, it's unlike the warrior where you really want to stack as much range and AoE as you possibly can. Oh, I turned off my auto attack. I gotta be careful about that. This character is, like, you do not want to actually stack too much. Otherwise, you become completely useless. I mean, if you can survive long enough to clear them all out, it's perfectly fine, because it's, like, super efficient. But it's just not fast enough to kill all of them. Any game loses major points the moment I feel required to play it. I want to have fun, not another job. Yup. I hope Wayfinder is something that gets close to that. So, part of my thing about season passes that don't expire is that Wayfinder doesn't have season passes that expire. And that's like one of my biggest MMO innovations that I'm looking forward to. That and the action combat is good. I think my big fear with that one is just mostly centered around the idea of my big fear with Wayfinder is mostly centered around the idea of potentially lack of content. that it could very much turn into a weird Warframe, like early Warframe situation where it's like really fun, but there's nothing to do. So I stop playing and never come back. But hopefully they're fast enough at making new things that it'll be okay. Didn't get into the Wayfinder beta test, but I'm not salty at all. Well, I mean, on the plus side, the early access version's coming out kinda soon. So hopefully that should work out for everybody. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the date. I know when it's coming out, like to the day, but I don't know if I can say it. Because I'm under at least a couple of NDAs, and it would be pretty stinky for me to break them by accident. Because I am, you know, too gabby for my own good. Yeah, chunky NDAs from what I've heard. So the interesting thing is, I'm only partially covered by NDAs. I can actually show the game off in its current state. Like, with no limitation. So, if I wanted to, I could actually look, I'd have to, like, check one or two things, but I could play Wayfinder right now and just stream it. And I'm one of, like, I want to say maybe 20 people who can. I'm waiting for the actual thing to come out. Okay, there we go. The fact that you could just go explore in Guild Wars 2, and there was a let's go look at things questline, sold it for you. I really love Guild Wars 2, but I do not like how hard exploring the world is to some degree. Like, that game has some scaling issues, that it very much assumes that you're going to have, like, at least 5 to 10 other people in the area to help you out. And most of those people aren't there anymore, and it's a little rough. Sometime this year, maybe once I've gotten a little bit bored of Wayfinder, I will probably go back to Guild Wars 2 and try and actually finish it 100%. Final Fantasy XIV's 95% of the content is along a very linear path, and you have one goal: engage me harder. Yeah, that's what got me. It was very easy for me to stick to, and I could just load it up like any old JRPG. It also helped that it had really... Oh, hey. That's a Chivo. I guess we've stacked a lot of regen. It also helped that it was a really good story, with the exception of like 1 or 2 moments. Like, we almost quit on Stormbringer. That expansion needed a little bit of work. My problem with Guild Wars 2 is I always like explore the world for about 10-15 hours, do some quests, maybe do some story content, and then get really bored of it because the structure is awkward. Oh, hey, level 62. Let's see. Range, duration, on-hit chance, base HP. Let's just go for the duration. I think we're pretty much at the... Yeah, we are very much at the end. I guess I should get really close to this, or I should beeline for... Ow. For the lockpicks over here, or whatever they're supposed to be. Because I don't want to hit it yet, but as soon as the timer ticks down to 0, we want to hit that lockpick, get as much as we can. Unless I die beforehand, this is starting to get kind of hairy. Yeah, no choice. Let's see, additional projectiles, extra area, sure. Hey, there's the Arcane Splinter upgrade that I was hoping to get. Right before the end. Good for me. Okay, 15 seconds left. I'm trying to finish off as many things as possible, though I guess I should be... Instead of fighting enemies here, I should probably be heading for boxes. Because we don't really benefit from more EXP at this moment. But we benefit greatly from, let's see, we benefit greatly from getting as much money as possible. Unfortunately, this guy's probably going to cook me, and I don't think there's much I can do about it. 30 seconds to... yeah. I think 1 or 2 more runs and I'll be able to kill him in a run. But I don't quite do enough damage to him to take him out. I could also see a flamethrower build potentially cooking him as well. Oh, actually, this is getting kind of close. I got him. Nope. Oh, wait, no, we just have some more time. I should have invested more into movement speed. I'm trying to keep him exactly arm's length. I might actually be able to kill Bob Diablo. Lord of Pain. He dead. We got the thing. Greed Rising. Got a lot of gold, too. Sick. Okay, so Trader 1, Seal of Rebirth, Radiant Aura, False Blessing. Oh boy, we got a lot of stuff there. This is probably going to be one of those moments where we hit a new difficulty plateau, maybe. Who do we play as? Because that was a dang good run. I don't know, I feel like it's Exterminator time again, but let's take a look at some things. Where's the Trader? We've not found them. Actually, let's just check this. Yeah, we haven't gotten Master Cleric. On hit chance, Metabolism 5. Alright, keep an eye on that. Oh. Survive 20 minutes with your original 28 minutes with your original maximum health. Blood Catcher. And then damage with Radiant Aura. Okay. Is this... burn to 50,000 enemies, burn to 200,000 enemies. 2 million damage. Yeah, okay. I think we'll do a Scorched Earth run and then we'll come back for some of the other characters. So what is this? Lord of Pain. Oh, that just gave me money. So I don't know where the trader shows up. Oh well, it's fine. Okay, so, whoops. Yeah, we want to get all of these. Actually, I don't know if we want the Ring of Fire. But I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah, I just know it doesn't help this character too much. So we got the Firewalkers, the Sparking Tips. Let's see. We still need a better chest piece and rings than what we've got. The Echoing Band is useless. At least on this character. And we do have the Ruby Circlet. So we still need a good amulet, a chest piece, and maybe another ring? Maybe. How many starting items do we have for the Flame Guy? 4? 4 out of, what, 7? So this guy should be in a pretty good spot to make things roasty toasty. The one thing we are going to want to do is refund the defense. Refund health capacity. Refund movement speed. We do need attack speed, but I want to at least put some point into that. Or some points into fire damage, considering. Alright, there we go. So how do the items work in this game? Do you lose them when you die, or can you start with them forever? So, I guess let's start this run, and then I'll explain, because it's easier.